Right, let's shift our attention to some more stories tonight. And if you've been following what happened over the weekend, the MP for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, says that he intends to invoke Article 97(1)(g) of the Constitution to compel the Speaker of Parliament to declare the party, which is the NDC, as the majority side of the House. This follows a decision by some incumbent NPP MPs in the persons of Cynthia Morrison, MP for Agona West, and Kwejo Asante, MP for Suhum, together with two other MPs to contest as independent candidates in the upcoming elections. So primarily what it means is that the Haruna Idrisu is saying that 4 MPs in the House, 2 independent and then 2, one in NDC, one in NPP, have decided to go independent. And per the article he is hoping to use to ask the Speaker to declare their seats vacant, it says that immediately you declare your intention from the party that you came to Parliament on, you are likely to then have to vacate that seat. But is that really the interpretation? And he was referencing what happened to the Fomena MP a few years ago in the person of Andrew Amoako Esiama. So let's listen exactly to what Haruna Idrisu has been saying, then we'll subject it to some interpretation and analysis.
The Parliament of Ghana will reconvene. And when it reconvenes, I am very certain that Parliament and Ghana will go through a major constitutional test. And that constitutional test is that the NDC minority must become the majority from Wednesday next week. And assume, and this must happen if there is constitutional and legal propriety in Ghana. Because any nuanced interpretation of Article 97 provides that if a member of Parliament on a political party ticket like NPP defects and files to be independent, that MP ceases to be member of Parliament. And if an independent member of Parliament, by virtue of the provision of Article 97, subclause G, an independent joins a political party, that independent loses constitutional recognition and does not belong to Parliament. And even if an NDC candidate, MP, defects to become an independent, he ceases to be a member of Parliament. Therefore, we will invoke the Speaker's proper and true interpretation of Article 97.
All right, so let's take you through the specifics of what Article 97(1)(g) says. And I'm going to put that on your screen shortly so you can also follow. It says that, and that's Article 97, tenure of office of members of Parliament. 1, a member of Parliament shall vacate their seat in Parliament if, that's the G, if the member leaves the political party of which they were a member at the time of their election to Parliament and joins another party, or if they seek to remain in Parliament as an independent member. H, if the member was elected as an independent candidate and subsequently joins a political party, then that member would also have to abdicate their seat, or the Speaker can declare that seat vacant. And these are the individuals we are talking about who have decided to go independent for various reasons. We have Honorable Andrew Amoako, who is a member of Parliament for Fomena. He is currently an independent member of Parliament. You'll recall that he had an issue with the NPP and decided to go independent, and so he has given indications he wants to go on the ticket of the NPP. So what happens to his seat now? Also, we have Peter Yao Kwachi Aka, who is member of Parliament for Memphis Central. He is an NDC MP, and he has also given indications he wants to go as an independent candidate. The other two are Kwejo Asante, who is the member of Parliament for Suhum. He is an NPP MP, and for one or two reasons has decided to go as an independent candidate. And then we have Cynthia Mamle Morrison. If you've been following discussions here on TV3 or your election command center, we spoke to her over the weekend about an injunction even that she's fighting. So she is also going as an independent candidate, although there's an injunction on her not to carry herself as the current MP. So those are the concerns that the Member of Parliament for Tamale South is hoping to raise before the Speaker to try and ask these 4 members of Parliament to declare their seats vacant. Let's interrogate this issue further and pick the thoughts of Dr. Rashid Draman, who is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Martin.
What is your interpretation, first of all, of what the Constitution says? Do you see this actually happening, that the Speaker, based on Article 97(1)(g), will declare these 4 seats vacant?
Well, I mean, under normal circumstances, yes, a precedent has been set. So, based on that, you know, Speakers of Parliament, when they do their rulings, they base their rulings on provisions of the standing orders, the Constitution, and sometimes the rulings of previous speakers. In this matter, I think if we are going to go by precedent, the thing to do for the Right Honourable Speaker is to do what the Right Honourable Michael Kwe did in the 7th Parliament. But Martin, these are not normal times, and this is not a normal Parliament. In the 7th Parliament, first of all, the party concerned, the NPP, wrote to the Right Honourable Speaker asking the Speaker to declare that seat vacant. They had a comfortable majority, and so on and so forth. We have a situation now where there's a razor-thin kind of division between the two sides. And we've also had instances in this 8th Parliament when issues were subjected to judicial interpretations by the Supreme Court. And I think from where I sit, this might be a candidate for that type of interpretation, because first of all, the NPP is not going to write the Right Honourable Speaker, because that would amount to suicide, because I mean, that's just calling for their side being turned into a minority, and I don't think that any party would, I mean, do that kind of thing. I can see a situation where this motion is moved tomorrow or maybe the day after, and then I think immediately is subjected to all kinds of interpretations. And already I've heard different lawyers, I'm not a lawyer, but I've heard different lawyers give different meanings to 97(1)(g). Right. To the extent that I have heard, I mean, some kind of media report indicated that a lawyer had said that what Right Honourable Michael Kwe did was wrong. So if, I mean, this is a trajectory, Martin, I can see somebody running to the Supreme Court maybe as early as tomorrow. And then you know what is going to happen. We don't have a lot of time. Right. And by the time the judicial process runs its course, we might have gone to the December 7 election. Right. So that is the kind of scenario I foresee playing out. Right. I mean, and from your interpretation of what, I mean, all of this is playing out to seem, it looks as though the parties pick and choose when to activate any of the laws that would please them. Because in the case of the Fomena MP, for instance, it was the NPP that activated this law where Speaker Michael Kwe asked him to step aside or, you know, declare the seat vacant. But in this time, you are suggesting that it may be a political suicide if the NPP tries to do that, because about 3 of their MPs have decided to go independent, and that will dwindle their numbers, isn't it? Yes, indeed, Martin, because if they were going to do that, we would have seen that happen by now, isn't it? Because they have already even gone to court. I mean, I don't know who went to court, But I mean, the honorable member for Agona was dragged to court, and you said, I mean, you have spoken to her and so on. She's challenging that case in court. And I think, I mean, one would think that is her party that has taken her to court to prevent her from going independent. Okay. And if indeed the party is, I mean, going to go by precedent, we would have seen them write to the Right Honorable Speaker and say, declare her seat, declare the other seats vacant. But that has not happened. And like I said, previously we know what happens in Parliament, as an MP described once for me, is an open and closed book. But now, I think in this 8th Parliament, with all the dramas that we have seen, that is no longer the case. We've seen instances when the court has had to come into the space of Parliament to tell Parliament maybe what a constitutional provision really means. Okay. And I believe that, tilting the balance of power, I think, is the highest thing that could happen in a Parliament. And I don't think that the other side, the majority side, is going to take this lightly. So, interesting days ahead, tomorrow and the day after.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Dr. Rashid Draman, for your time and thoughts.